Yeah, I saw Lagway. Who else?
Lagway, Aiden
Rayola.
Childs, Rayola,
Aiden
and
Childs.
yeah, I think he's not bad. I just
Penn State,
Virginia Tech.
Virginia. Is that a is that a more lucrative destination?
I don't know who would. Yeah, well,
That
he was
sucks
probably
that
trying.
that sucks that Lagway into the portal.
I think Florida's going to be good. They just, I know their quarterback they're going to get is Georgia Tech's backup that I was talking about earlier in the year.
Oh, what's his name? Pharaoh?
Aaron Philo. He
Yeah.
like has every single Georgia State high school record. Yeah. Apparently, well, like I don't know how this is even allowed. They were like, yeah, Florida offered him, and then Georgia Tech matched, and I was like, he's not even in the portal yet. Like, it's just openly admitting to someone
Dude, it's literally the Wild West. Like, there's no way
like
for oversight to actually impose rules
no,
because there's so many loopholes that you could use to get around, like negotiations. It's because
yeah,
they're like every big name QB is probably repped by a third party agent who can contact coaches on his behalf, and then that agent's probably just negotiating with the two schools, which is pretty funny.
yeah. Same thing as like with coaches when it's like the coach comes out, it's like I have not spoken at this school yet. Yeah, it's because your agent has. Like,
It's like DeBoer saying he hasn't pursued any outside options, but we know,
Jimmy Sexton may have.
yeah, we know Jimmy Sexton's talking to the Michigan
Yeah.
administration. Who else? I saw another big name. I'm trying to think of who it was.
Well, Rayola, I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, Rail was a big name.
I was thinking Kentucky or Auburn when I first heard that. Like Will Stein or Alex Golish would be a nice fit.
Dude,
Like an
yes.
NFL caliber quarterback with
I
a
hope
ton
he
of
goes to
talent.
Auburn would be. I'm picturing that now, and
Yeah, right? Auburn or
it's
Kentucky?
intriguing to me. Kentucky too, but more so Auburn.
Auburn in terms of like winning football games, Kentucky in terms of like that might be super frisky if Kentucky could get that done.
Yeah, agreed.
Do you think Sellers is the next thing to go? Is he staying for sure?
he signed a contract.
Said he's staying. Yeah,
He
Got
signed
you.
his extension deal, which makes a lot of
that's
sense.
a
Yeah,
thing now.
literally,
QB
literally
Malik
NFL.
Washington signed an extension. That's just a
Dude, that's
thing you
literally
do now.
NFL.
Yeah,
See, Duska, this is why I don't blame Colin Coward for his NFL ism seeping into college football because it already is.
I understand, but I will always be on the side of fighting against the
Oh, oh,
abnormality of
oh,
this. Yeah.
I agree. I 100% agree. I'm just like, dude,
I'm
the
gonna
sign.
I'm gonna die on the battlefield of this is all ridiculous. It
Yes,
needs regulation, but
I agree. I agree.
I'm still
I
gonna consume the football no matter what. So
Yeah, no doubt. But like the fact that we got quarterbacks signing extensions. Um,
and
uh,
then like schools are like I saw a video of Malik Washington at a Maryland basketball game and they were basically announcing that he was coming back. And it's like it's sad that
that's the
it's sad we've reached a point where you have to celebrate a guy
that
remaining at
you
a school.
recruited,
Yeah.
like you
That you've
banged.
recruited and developed, good player. Oh, he's staying, thank God. Wow,
USC
let's
posted
celebrate.
something that they'd re-signed it. Like the USC's actual football account posted they like re-signed somebody. Like
It's insane.
What, Mayava?
I don't know who it was, but I just
I
laughed.
kind of like Mayava a lot. I could see him being intriguing as a first round draft prospect next year.
I don't know if we're gonna have time to talk about this on the actual show. So I was gonna say that I think that I'm excited about Washington next year with Damon Williams coming back and then being able to tool up and add some pieces. Like,
I might have been a year too early.
yeah, they can. I think they'll be frisky next year with
I
another
believe
year
they
of
are
Damon Williams
losing
reps.
Boston, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the big loss.
Denzel Boston is really good at football, but I
But
think,
if you have an above average QB that's already produced at a pretty good level, then I'm always going to be intrigued to see how that carries over to the next season. But
I
yeah,
mean, in terms of 2026 football commits, they are 12 in the country. which
They signed the
is
16th best recruiting class for an
Yeah.
on three. Washington.
according to 247, it's 12, which is
Okay,
awesome.
so dude, even so, that's
And they're
pretty elite for Washington.
and they were 23 in total composite 2025. So like that's enough talent to make you frisky in the national playoff contention.
I think that with DeBoer leaving and then them transitioning to the Big Ten last year, they've been pretty pro and I think it's gone about as good as it could have for them
Yeah,
with handling that transition and then building back up to being pretty solid already under Fish.
Jed Fish's name coming up in a lot of these coaching searches. What do you guys think about that? Especially you, Arch. It's like he seems like he's on the hot board for the Michigan job, and that would kind of seem like an uninspiring hire. Although I like him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he would like the same thing whenever he was rumored to go to Florida. Like, I
Yeah.
don't love that hire. I don't like. I think it's he is a program builder for sure. Like he did it at Washington. He's done it at he did it at Arizona, and then he just like maintained that at Washington. I don't know. I just don't think he's. I don't think he's a Michigan caliber coach that like a coaching staff is going to like,
Yeah.
or a fan base is going to like.
Yeah.
Well, they can reach a higher level of coach than Jed Fish is really good and has proven he can build a program, but they can reach above that and coach someone that's better than him.
Yeah, that's kind of my thinking.
And with that, we'll just move straight into the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 22nd edition of the Forward Pass Podcast. We've got myself in my sister's room. We've got Luke Duska at home in Haverford. We've got Caleb Archer in Macon, Georgia, still doing school, studying for finals. How about it, kid? And then we also got Sam Perry in Austin. Sam, you are coming back to Pittsburgh
Thursday night after work.
The prodigal son returns on Thursday, folks. So be on the lookout for that. We might have playoff games watched. Boots on the ground, maybe in the Perry's basement. Who knows? But either way, we've got a jam-packed show for you guys. Obviously, we've got the playoffs coming up. We've got a couple intriguing matchup this weekend. We've also have the Sherrone Moore stuff, which we kind of got into a little bit with in the pre-show, and then we've also got a little Army Navy recap. So with that, we're going to start with the Sherrone Moore firing. Sherrone Moore relieved of his duties as the Michigan football head coach. It's drenched with scandal, a staffer inappropriate relations. Then staffer outs him, and he kind of goes haywire. He's got an ugly situation, super ugly situation. You hate to see this as a leader of a program, and I'm sure Sherrone Moore, giving him the benefit of the doubt, he's not the worst human being, but this is not a great moment. And, I hope in a couple of years, maybe, he has some of a Lane Kiffin type, turnaround. But yeah, not good right now. Not good at all. But honestly, for the school of Michigan, they don't have to pay a buyout of a coach they were probably going to fire anyway. And they have some intriguing head coaching names up for this job. The one I want to start with, and you guys can give your thoughts on the whole situation, but the one I want to start with is somebody that Luke mentioned on a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I also think Sam mentioned this, but Clark Lee at Vanderbilt.
I mean, I think that the only issue with this is Clark Lee just signed an extension with Vandy, and they also flipped a really highly touted quarterback prospect. But that's like a 1 year. I think zooming out, that's not going to affect a decision by Lee whether he goes or stays in Vandy. But I just think naturally it's a perfect fit if you look at the way that Clark Lee's built up Vandy, and it's another school that has a pretty strong culture of physicality and defense, and you can tell the intentionality that went behind how they built that team, how they approach O-line play. We've talked before about how they switch around positions on the O-line, and then ultimately the biggest piece is the quarterback piece. The culture of the team is led by a quarterback, and I know there's certain people on this podcast that don't really like Diego Pavia, appreciate his antics and whatnot. And you could consider me in that group as well. Some of the things he's done, but I do one thing I love about him is how he plays with an unyielding confidence in his ability and his team's ability to win games. And I think that's instilled in him by Clark Lee. And I think the way you just look at how he's rebuilt that Vandy program, and it was a it's that's a program that's been in the dumps of the SEC for a long time, and it isn't as well resourced as a lot of the SEC schools. Don't have a pedigree of being able to recruit in the way that a lot of SEC schools have been able to. And if you put a guy like Clark Lee, who's been able to recruit at a high level and build up a program at a high level in a really, really tough conference, and you put him at a place like Michigan that's as well resourced as it is, and one of the blue bloods that gets talked about as spanning the entire history of college football. It's one of the premier programs in college football. If you put him at the helm of a job like that, I think it would be very intriguing to see what he's able to do with those resources that he'd be able to tap into at Michigan. It's something I think is a good fit for them with how he builds culture, and then a good fit for Clark Lee in that he gets to go to a program that is the cream of the crop in college football and really see what he's made of, and if he's able to take it to another level that he most likely isn't going to be able to reach at Vandy, if he can take it to another level at a school like Michigan. So Clark Lee being the head coach of Michigan is very intriguing to me, and it is something I'd definitely like to see.
Yeah, I agree with that, Tuska. And obviously, like you said, the buyout or the contract extension would be an issue for Vandy and Michigan, but I also think if especially for a school like Michigan with basically unlimited resources, that buyout shouldn't be an issue, especially since they're saving money on what would have been a Sherrone Moore buyout. And I really like what you said because I feel like he's not really being talked about in this coaching search. You heard a lot of DeBoer, and you're hearing a lot of Kenny Dillingham with a little bit of Jed Fish as well. But I I also think like, yeah, Clark Lee's a Vandy guy, but when a job like this comes across, like it's really hard to say no. And him understanding what is likely to be the ceiling of Vandy football and kind of how like you go 10-2 and maybe if you had a different logo, like you're in the playoff, but that's not the case for them versus at Michigan and with their resources and his ability to build a culture, he can really establish himself as one of the premier coaches and give himself a chance to win a national championship year in and year out. So yeah, definitely something to look at too. And just on the Shrums Moore situation, like there's not all that much to it other than just a really sad situation for a guy who had a really positive public perception of him after he led Michigan when Harbaugh was suspended back in 2022 or 2023, whatever that was. And him crying after the games, just a Michigan guy. He bled Michigan, and it's just really sad to see his reputation and honestly what probably could be the end of his coaching career based off of a really bad decision.
Yeah, I had some just comments, not really on because I think I'd voice my opinions, but I think Sherrone Moore is a coach. But I wanted to kind of say that, like, when you're doing a coaching search after like one ends like this, I feel like a smart coach is going to take this job, has to take everything into account. We talked about the same thing with like Kiffin to LSU and like the state of the LSU athletic department and the state of LSU as a university. I think the same has to be done with Michigan. With Ward Manuel there, they've had a lot of really bad things happen in the sense of like college athletics kind of touched and done a lot of things that they turn like blind eyes to, that like he's now on the hot seat. So when you have an AD on the hot seat, and then there's rumors that they knew about this way before, they were just waiting to see what happened with like the end of the Michigan season. Like, I don't know. I think that it's I think that it's just another thing that you're going to have to, like, a coach is going to take into consideration. And I think, like y'all were talking about, Clark Lee's a great coach. He's a program builder. I think he's more proven as a program builder than one name we were talking about off air with Jed Fish because of the way that Clark Lee has done it in a much tougher conference, I would say. but I don't know if Michigan. I think Michigan has so many good options ahead of them that I don't know if they can. It's going to be really hard for them to screw this up. So I think that I think it's good that they've like waited this long into the cycle where they don't have to get involved with the whole Kiffin sweepstakes or things like that. They can just like find their guy and kind of work that way. So, yeah, but that's my thoughts. I don't know. I think Michigan kind of did a bad job of this whole thing as an athletic department, like usual, but they
But
can still save some face.
just like to play devil's advocate, isn't it a little bit nice that this happens all after signing day and this happens after the season, or at least the regular season? Don't you think that might have been strategic?
Oh, for them to release or for them, yeah, like that's my thing. They knew about this. They were just waiting, which just shows further corruption in the athletic department, in my opinion. They were waiting to see if they beat Michigan or if they beat Ohio State for the 5th straight year, and if they did, then Sherrone Moore, they would have fired the staffer, made her sign an NDA, but gave her like a lot of money. Instead, he's fired, in jail, probably going to be there for a while.
I don't disagree with you, Arch. I just want to draw a quick parallel between, or not, it's not a parallel, it's a comparison between Michigan and Penn State. And I think Arch made a really good point in that Michigan's going to have their selection and they're going to be able to go poach a coach from a program that isn't as well renowned or resourced as them.
Yeah, Penn State thought they were going to be what Michigan
It's
is.
a very, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Penn State, they're the type of program that you see that thinks they're at the level of a Michigan and is a program that could go and get like a Mike Elko from Texas A&M or a Signetti from Indiana. And they're the type of program that agents use to leverage the program that the coach they're representing is at so that they can get an extension and get paid more money. Michigan is the type of program where
you leave for the job.
Yeah, you leave for that job. And I just think it's a funny comparison between the two and all the drama related to the Penn State coaching search and how mishandled and misguided that was and how Michigan's basically I think we all agree Michigan's basically going to have their selection of not every single coach in the country, but they're going to have a pretty long list of guys that they can poach, and it's probably going to end up going well for them. And also, I want to see Michigan take a swing as well and hire someone exciting because clearly Sherrone Moore was probably the right option to turn to.
Please, not Brian Kelly, not Brian Kelly.
But go get a coach that is gonna ignite the fan base and be able to to get Michigan back in the place it needs to be and in the right direction.
If you had to place a wager right now on who the next Michigan coach would be, who would you pick?
Clark Lee.
I think it's tough. I'm
going to say Kalen DeBoer.
I'm leaning towards DeBoer as well. I think that there's going to be serious considerations if Alabama loses to Oklahoma, and there's a pretty decent chance of that happening. So
you think?
But I would love Clark Lee would be my favorite.
So you think the statement that Kalen DeBoer put out, saying like me and my family love Tuscaloosa and I'm not going anywhere, you think that was just horseshit?
I don't think it would be his decision.
Yeah, I think they would
gonna fire him.
I think I think it would be like,
why would you do that if you're Alabama? What better coaches on the market are there than Kalen DeBoer?
Dan Lanning. Well, debatable if he's better because
he's never beat him
in a locker. Yeah, that's debatable actually.
Dude, you'd have to have
I get that sentiment though, Arch. I think Dan Lanning is looked more fondly upon than DeBoer.
Yeah.
Okay, but
especially in the eyes of Alabama.
Yeah.
Booster, like it would be more of a Saban move.
Okay, but they better have that thing signed and sealed before they fire DeBoer, because if like at the last minute Lanning's like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna stay in Eugene, Oregon. Like, then who are you hiring?
I also the thing about Lanning is that if there's any coach that says that they're going to stay in a certain spot, I think it's Lanning at Oregon. He always says, I watch like all the Oregon football content. He always says the grass is real green in Oregon.
Also, and like
it would take
you
a
have
lot
to also
to get him
think
out of
if you're Dan Lanning, like you just saw how they treat DeBoer, who goes
Yeah.
9-3 and 10-3, loses a playoff game on the road in a pick'em game, and then they fire him. So then you go to Alabama and you're like, all right, here you have a 2-year window versus Oregon. He's now made the playoffs 2 years in a row, has made the quarterfinals, most likely, unless they lose to JMU, 2 years in a row. And he has completely turned that program into a national competitor where there's no 2-year window for him. If they go 9-3 next year and don't make the playoff, and then 9-3 the year after that, like he's still going to be at Oregon. So I don't know why, like I understand that would be a good hire for Bama, and I don't know if he would necessarily go,
Also,
knowing
dude,
that
you
you have
literally
two
get to play
years.
Rutgers and Nebraska and Maryland every year. Like, why? I don't know. And you
Oregon
and
also
and
might
you have
be
the West Coast
more.
talent.
Oregon might be more well resourced than Alabama at this point,
Yeah.
and in the future, going into the more rev share based payment style and era of college football.
I think firing Kalen DeBoer is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't. I think it would. I do agree. I think it'd be crazy, but I also could like genuinely
it could
see it.
it could easily happen.
I
I
could
think
also see
that's ludicrous.
Minter coming back to Michigan.
Jesse Minter was a name on the hot board that I was very intrigued by.
Yeah, I
Very
could see
intrigued.
that.
Where's he at now? The Ravens.
He's the defensive coordinator
Chargers.
at the Chargers.
Mm,
McDonald is the one at the Seahawks. He's the head coach. He was
yeah,
not the Ravens, but
Georgia guy.
yeah. So Minter, I could see that. But Minter, you're taking a flyer because like he's never even had a head coaching job before.
That would be a hire that I considered uninspiring, in my opinion. It would just be a safe one, and safe is what got you with uh, a coach getting arrested right after he got fired, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
well,
take a swing, Michigan. Go poach
um,
someone.
yeah. Speaking of taking a swing, this Saturday there was a 4th and 8, and I'm in the stands at the game.
What a transition.
I'm in the stands at the game, and I'm telling Dusk, I'm like, dude, kick it, just kick it. We're down 16-10, like just kick it. We'll try to get the ball back, dude. We put our nuts on the line. I'm glad I don't coach Navy football and Brian Newberry does because we go for it on 4th and 8 on the goal line. The Fourth Reich glance route,
Third Reich strike.
the Third Reich strike, absolute bedlam in Baltimore, Maryland. The shirts are coming off in the Brotherhood section. I mean, the cheers are flying. Tsunami's playing. It was electric. That 4th and 8, I will remember that for the rest of my life till I die as a huge Navy fan. And the reason I love Navy and like I'm so proud of like to be a Navy fan is like we just got 10 wins. We're 10-2. And like I'm juiced up to see us play Cincinnati in our bowl game because like it means something. And I wish more college football program fan bases were like Navy fans because we didn't make the AAC championship. It's okay. They did it the right way. The highest two ranked teams out of the tiebreaker. Then we go beat Army, which matters. And then hopefully we beat, I can't wait for the Cincinnati game. Hopefully we beat Cincinnati, go 11 wins back to back years. But um, what an amazing experience. What a play call. What an execution. What a weekend. That's what I've got to say about Army Navy.
I'd like to go on the record and state that I was saying go for it in that moment. And feels good to be on the right side of history. And definitely very, very satisfied with the outcome, very excited with how it transpired. And I would just second you in saying what an amazing weekend the Army Navy game always is. Something that I always want to be at for the rest of my life. And my only gripe is with M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. I just want to call them out real quick.
As they should be called out.
When the president of the United States is attending a football game, it doesn't mean that you should only have two gates in the entire stadium open and two metal detectors scanning two people at a time for however many people M&T Bank Stadium seats. So that if you do simple math, only four people were getting into the stadium at a time. And like I said, I don't know the exact number of attendees at the event, but it's well into the tens of thousands, and it was an absolute. We didn't get into the game until the halfway through the second quarter.
We
So
to get into the stadium, we left at 1:50 for the 3 o'clock kick, and we did not get in until 3:30. And there's zero.
3:45.
Yeah, like there's no need for that to happen. No need. Because when you're walking by as you're sardines in the crowd, everybody's yelling at each other, and there's literally just Secret Servicemen doing nothing, just standing there. And every gate you pass is not operational. So like you're like, wait, why don't we just have a couple people work this gate? Like, is nobody qualified to run the
There's
freaking
also just
scanner?
people standing around everywhere doing
Doing nothing. Like
Yeah.
Secret Service people wearing the fattest rifle you've ever seen, but really, we need you to scan our ticket and let us in the game. Like,
And then one shout out to one Secret Service lady that I yelled at her to do her job because she was just standing there by the gate, and she came up and started yelling at me.
mhm.
Glad she was out there defending the premises of the
not
stadium.
doing her job because
Yeah.
she kept saying, "Go this way," and we were like, "We can't move, lady." Unbelievable. But once we got into the game, it was so much fun, and I couldn't believe like we were so upset walking through the gates, and like you said, Duska, it's gonna take a miracle for like me to look fondly back at this game, and like it. Luckily, like Army Navy's too magical for Baltimore to ruin it.
It didn't dampen the spirits in the slightest.
No. But yeah, what an amazing experience. I'm real happy for Horvath and Hyde in the Third Reich and Heidenreich and Alex Tezza, three seniors that go out on top. Also, another huge factor was number 18, our safety. He's a listed corner that we converted to safety because of injury. Well, we got our starting safety back, and then 18 slotted back at corner, and he made a huge pick to give us the ball back, and we ended up sealing the game off that pick. So,
Also, I think the most slept on thing in the entire game was when Navy was about to go ahead and score their go ahead touchdown when it was 16-10, and they go for a QB sneak on the goal line. Horvath fumbles it, and then it's in the hands of an Army defender, and then Tezza tackles the guy, strips the ball out, and Heidenreich's able to dive on it, and that eventually leads to the 4th and 8 conversion or the 4th and goal conversion. And I think that's just one of the sneakiest, just putting your body on the line, trying to do whatever you can to keep the other team from being able to pick up the football.
dude,
And that just personifies the game itself. Yeah. That was so gritty. Yeah.
He's like such a gritty player, And I would have liked to see them just give him the ball on the goal line because Horvath had kind of been like not handling the ball great all game. There were a couple
at
times
the end of the game too.
where he fumbles the ball. Oh, that was insane. Oh, that was insane.
So many breaks.
Give the ball to 46.
Yeah. That goal line fumble was really funny watching it on TV because the camera was like right above it and the ball is just sitting on the ground and nobody knows it.
Yeah.
Literally nobody knows it. And Tezza just like punches it as the Army guy's about it. Oh, that was crazy.
And then Eli recovers it. That's just knowing where the ball is.
Yeah, just football, being a football player.
I'm gonna say Navy was the better football team in this game, though. If you compare both offenses, Navy was just in way more advantageous third down situations, and then once they got to 3rd and 4, it was damn near an automatic conversion with whatever they were pulling out of the hat for the play call. They were able to convert very consistently on 3rd and 4th downs, and now, other than the fact that Army had a bad turnover as well that led to Navy points, Navy played the better game and were able to overcome turnovers as well. And I think they just have more guys that can make big plays than Army did. And
our quarterback is far better.
Yeah.
Our quarterback Helms is pretty limited as an athlete. Any of you guys got anything more on the Army Navy game? Travis Manu tailgate, electric as always. Shout out Dock Street in Annapolis. We spent a lot of time and money at Dock Street. O'Brien's as well. Downtown Annapolis, always a pleasure. Next year, 2026, New York City. Technically New Jersey, but so maybe Hoboken, we'll see. But We'll
Good
be there.
luck.
Ridgewood.
Yeah, Ridgewood, exactly. Um,
Greg
yeah,
Foley's residence.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
All
can't do
right.
it.
So, fellas, I got a little bit of a hype video-esque segment for you guys. So every
Okay.
year, 136 Division 1A schools have a dream of winning a conference championship and possibly going to the college football playoff. The season begins sometime in January when the first team meeting commences. You then start the winter strength and conditioning programs, where for 6 to 8 weeks, your head coach becomes your head strength coach. Your cleats become your lifting shoes, and your shoulder pads are replaced by a barbell. As the team grinds through that phase, March hits, meaning the echoes of the spring ball whistles are in the air. For 15 practices, you develop a hatred for your opponent, which is the other side of the football. Through this competition, or as some say, iron sharpening iron, a team starts to be forged. A brotherhood starts to be formed. Depth charts are set, and in mid our depth charts are set, and in mid-April, the pads are put away till fall camp. During the summer, while your buddies are back home hitting the town, college football teams on barren campuses, no students, running, lifting, eating, attending some illegal meetings with their position coaches so that the freshmen can get caught up with play installs 1 through 5. And then at the end of the summer, you kiss your mother goodbye and you effectively become an indentured servant to your football program. Or as my grandpa would say to my grandma, so long, dear, football is here. During fall camp, you eat, sleep, and breathe football, practicing every variation of every situation in play. And when you practice it enough, you get the pleasure of walking through it again in the evenings. By late August, early September, a team has been built, the depth charts are set, and the ball is rolled out. Now your job is to prepare your mind, body, and spirit for a football game every Saturday for 11 weeks straight. The weeks all mesh together, the days fly by, and by the time November rolls around, only a handful of teams have the opportunity to fight for conference supremacy. By December, the handful shakes down to a few teams who have battled through injury, adversity, grueling games, insane third downs, monotonous practices, and these teams are the last 12 standing after 136 began. 8%. Now, while the other teams sit on their couch with their dads, the other 8% who have sacrificed everything to get here are now on the biggest stage of their lives. So I ask you one simple question. Who's ready for some playoff football, fellas?
Let's go.
Very
Yeah.
much ready.
Yeah. Are we ready? Sam Perry, are you
Fired up.
ready?
Ready, baby.
All right. We've waited for this moment. The pods started on August 25th. We were eyeing up this moment. We did think Clemson might be in this thing, but
Clemson was going all the way.
yeah.
Or someone
Someone
did, at
thought
least.
Clemson was going to be so good that they just waltzed to the title.
Couldn't have been. I think
They shall go unnamed.
yeah, they shall go unnamed, but
It was me, though.
I also had them in my national championship. But so, it's okay though. Although who we
No
thought,
losses, just lessons.
yeah, although who we thought might be here may not be here. We have some football games to be played. Let's start with the Friday game, fellas. We've got the Alabama Crimson Tide going to Norman, Oklahoma to play the Oklahoma Sooners. Fellas, this game is a rematch, which we saw in week 12, where Oklahoma got the better of Alabama. And in this game, we kind of started to see Alabama not falling apart per se, but the cracks in the armor. And then we saw Josh Cuevas leave, and then we saw Jam Miller leave in a couple weeks after, and the wheels really started falling apart in the offense. Now, Jam Miller is supposed to be back. How effective, who knows? Josh Cuevas is supposed to be back. How effective, who knows? LT Overton is supposed to be back as well, and Parker Brailsford, their center, is also supposed to be playing football. So it seems like they're getting a little bit healthier going into this football game, in which they need it. Like I've said, Jam Miller might be the most important player on this offense just because of the lack of depth that they have. I went back and watched the Oklahoma game, and again, the backs and protection are not very good. That's been a huge problem, and Oklahoma can get after the quarterback. Edge rusher, it's actually R. Mason Thomas. R space Mason Thomas. I've never seen that before. Thought it was a typo, but R. Mason Thomas has 6.5 sacks. Oklahoma might be the best defense in the country, if not. I mean, They're definitely a top 8, top 5 defense in the country, right? So they fly around the football. One thing I just wanted to point out that Oklahoma's top 8 tacklers, 4 from the state of Oklahoma, 4 from the state of Texas. Recruit locally, everybody. Still important in college football, but I digress. Fellas, what do you guys think about? I guess we can talk matchups first. The Oklahoma offense led by John Mateer and the Alabama offense led by Ty Simpson.
Well, I think you would hope.
Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
Well, I think you would. Sorry, I think you would hope in the this 3 week time off for Oklahoma that you get a much healthier and well rested Mateer. I also think that in a lot of Oklahoma's games, they've relied on explosive plays, especially from Satania, like in that LSU game as well as the Tennessee game. And Charlie, I saw that you had this in your notes, but we talked about this after Tennessee, um, and just throughout the season, like the later half of the season, on how much of a weapon Oklahoma's kicker is. And in these likely tight playoff games with pretty solid defenses, you're going to see a lot of special teams being a big factor. So yeah, that's definitely something to look out for. And then, like
Do you
you
want to
kind of
read?
mentioned,
Do you want to just read off? Do you have the stat in front of you?
no, but I can pull it up.
So Tate Sandell, which is Oklahoma's kicker, he's in 95% this year, 23 out of 24. And Connor Talty, Alabama's kicker, who had some questionable body languages in one of the game, which we talked about, he's 65%,
I think
13
it
to
was this
20.
game
Yeah,
Was
it
it?
was
where he was
it was
screaming at the
the
long
game.
snapper.
Yeah.
Redemption spot for him.
That is a redemption spot.
And the long snapper.
Short snapper.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but I think that, and then especially in Oklahoma in the game before, it was one of their worst offensive performances of the year. They had 212 yards of total offense and really, really struggled on third down, but relied on turnovers, special teams to get that win. And then on the Bama side, like you talked about, Charlie, hopefully Jay Miller and Cuevas are healthy and good to go. That should help open up the run game and kind of keep Oklahoma's defense off balance because if you're Bama, I would say you don't go down and score at least some points on your first drive or two, and you let that Oklahoma defense settle in, let the crowd get into the game, then and Simpson starts having the yips again, then you could be in for a long night offensively. But yeah, it's just these little matchups here. Um, but I also think too, like when you're Bama and you've had so much success early in the season that maybe this 2 weeks off lets the offense find that rhythm again, kind of click like you saw with Ohio State last year. So yeah, super interesting matchup here. It's fun that we get to see a rematch in a game that Bama probably would like to have back. Granted that Oklahoma didn't really play all that well, but still found a way to win.
We've been talking about Jam Miller a little bit. I have some stats to back up his importance in being a participant in the Alabama offensive game plan. And Miller's played 9 out of their 13 games. So in those games where Miller is playing, Alabama runs the ball in total in the game on average 11 more times than they do when he's not playing, and for about 35 more yards per game. So it sort of translates right into their average rushing yards per game, but there's an overall increase in their in their ability to stick to the run, even if it's not working that well in games where Miller plays. And it just signals that the coaching staff is a little more confident in handing it off to Miller and staying committed to the run game when he is playing. And I think that's an important piece because the Oklahoma run defense is, I think it's the fifth best run defense in the country. And they held Alabama to it was around their average, like around 80 yards per game, and that's where Oklahoma's been all year. And in that game, Alabama was still able to outgain them. Like Sam was saying, Oklahoma only had 212 yards, and Alabama had 406. I think that Alabama was the better team in that game. They just had 3 really costly turnovers that directly led to points, and that really killed them in the game. And Charlie mentioned it too. The pressure Oklahoma generated was what led to those turnovers, and that's going to be the biggest hinge thing in this game. I think Alabama, they're going to be able to, if Miller's playing, they're going to be able to run the ball better than they have without him, and they'll stay committed to the rushing attack more. But I think there's been ample evidence throughout the season that they haven't been able to run the ball, and it's probably not going to change that drastically once you get into a playoff scenario. So pass protection is going to be huge, and that was the biggest hinge factor in Alabama losing that first game. So that makes me want to highlight one matchup that I'm really excited for, and I've been talking about this guy a decent amount all year. Alabama's got a true freshman right tackle, Michael Carroll, and he's going to play a lot of snaps against Oklahoma edge Taylor Ween. And Ween, they had this matchup earlier in the season. Ween did a pretty good job against Carroll, generating pressure on most of his pass rushes, or at least affecting Simpson in the pocket. And then people will remember that the strip sack that he had late in the game that basically sealed it for OU. And Carroll's been good and has been progressing all year. And that's going to be a really important matchup to watch. And a lot of the game's going to hinge on those one-on-ones with the stout defensive line and edge rushers that Oklahoma has. If Simpson's able to have time to operate, the OU secondary is havable. We've talked about that earlier in the season. The front seven is elite, but the back end is slightly havable. And if Simpson has time to operate and he has the addition of Miller and Cuevas, then I think that they're going to be in better shape offensively. They're going to be a little more tuned in on protecting the football. And I think that's going to give them an advantage too. So there's a lot of factors that Alabama needs to change from the first game, but those are things that you can hone in on and make sure that you emphasize in your preparation, and you have an extra week leading up to this game that can really make a big difference in this matchup. So it's going to be interesting to see how all that unfolds.
I mean, another interesting aspect, because I agree that Oklahoma can be had in the past, but mostly from their corners, because I think their safeties are really good. So, Duska, we talk about like in the run game sometimes, like getting the ball to the free hitter. And that's what scheme can do. Scheme can get the ball to the free hitter in the run game, but it's up to your playmakers to break tackles. And the free hitters in the safeties in Oklahoma's defense, their names are Robert Spears Jennings, number 3. He's got 57 tackles in the SEC, and he's top 3 on the team in tackles. And then Peyton Bowers, who had a pick 6 in their first matchup. So really good safety plays. But getting the ball to the free hitters, can Jam Miller and is Josh Cuevas playing, because those two are probably their best tackle breakers and explosive players with the ball in their hands, as well as Jeremy Bernard. But another thing I want to talk about is sometimes football can be as simple as who has a better coach, who has a better quarterback. This is where I'm pretty intrigued to see two offenses that have been sputtering but have good staffs. So Ben Arbuckle, the Washington State coach last year that came down to Oklahoma, what does he have, and who do I believe in more? Do I believe in the Ben Arbuckle staff, or do I believe in the Grubb DeBoer staff? To me, I have to say Grubb and DeBoer, and I also have to say I think Simpson has been better this year in terms of just quarterback play and decision making. Now, I do think John Mateer has his moments and he is dynamic, but since the Red River rivalry, it hasn't been the same. And like Sam said, we don't know what his health will be like. Hopefully, this is good for him, but I like it. Alabama offense, I believe in them kind of doing what Sark in Texas did to Texas A&M, reviving the run game. I could see Grubb and DeBoer doing something similar, especially if Jam Miller is playing and it has some level of juice. What say you guys? Or no, or nobody could have anything to say. But another thing I want to talk. What were you saying?
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to talk about how
I was just going to say one thing about Mateer and the OU offenses. In that, if you go back to that Alabama game, there were a few plays where I'm not going to say they were miraculous and they probably shouldn't have happened, but Mateer got them out of a lot of sticky 3rd and long, tough yardage situations where if they don't convert there, they're not going to get an extra field goal and win that game. So it's going to come down to, because I think similar to Alabama, the Oklahoma offense is what it is at this point, and it hasn't been that impressive for the most part all year. But they have had the explosive play potential, and it's going to come down to if Mateer and Satania and their guys can make those big plays, and when they're in really tough situations, and if they're able to just squeeze out enough offense for them to win. With Alabama, it's different. It's like you're waiting for the cup to overflow and for all of the offensive potential to pour out. With Oklahoma, you don't really have that same feeling or sense that there's meat left on the bone. You can't they kind of are what they are.
Yeah. And they're just like, we're going to try to play in the game script that is like, our defense can win the game. Although I really like Alabama's defense. Specifically Jan Pierre and LT Overton. If Overton goes, I really like both of those guys at edge. I do think like the defense has been, as the offense has waned, the defense has really stepped up to at least get them to this point where it's like, all right, like can the offense answer the bell? And like you said, Duska, dude, at receiver, I like Bernard, I like Williams, I like Isaiah Horton, I like Jam Miller, I like Josh Cuevas. If they all go and that they're all relatively healthy with Ty Simpson and again Jam Miller back in protection, I think I trust Bama a little bit more in this spot.
Do we pick winners?
Art, you got something for us?
I was going to say back to like the whole, I guess the key in this game, I think to me is going to be, is Oklahoma's offense like going to produce enough positive plays to basically allow their defense to win this game? Because I think their defense like can completely take over again. Remember we talked about this a few weeks ago. Like they were a team I did not want to play in the playoff based on how their defense can just like suffocate you, and like one bad break, one turnover can cause Oklahoma, like it can swing momentum and stuff like that. If Bama allows that to happen in Norman on Friday night, it's probably not going to end well for them. So I think the key is going to be can Oklahoma's offense. But the other thing is Oklahoma's offense has been pretty dreadful most of the year. Like their running game is non-existent. Mateer after the surgery, like y'all mentioned, was not been great.
I mean, both of these teams are in the 100s in rush yards per game. Like these rushing offenses are bad.
So I think the key, like you were saying, I trust Alabama's offense so much more. And I think I would say I trust Oklahoma's defense more than Bama, but the difference isn't as stark as it is from like offensive Bama to offensive Oklahoma.
I like that take.
So I don't know, like Chuck was talking about, I don't believe LT Overton is going to go. He has some illness. I just saw something he was doubtful, but even without him, I think that Bama's going to find a way to win this game. I think talk about it with Mateer pre and post surgery. I think it's also Mateer pre and post having to play an SEC schedule. And Bama's defense he didn't do great against him the first time. I don't see him, like you were saying, I don't see Oklahoma's offense is turning this around like completely. The way Oklahoma would win this game is their offense doing enough positives to negate the negatives that they will do like eventually. But I'm going to trust Bama in the spot, so I'm going to pick Bama.
I think we're all leaning Bama, unless Sam.
Yeah, I lean Bama. I think another thing too that we haven't necessarily talked about would be just I feel like Norman as well, a fan base starving for the postseason, and especially a home game should be a pretty awesome environment, especially at night. But yeah, I just think the most important part is how Bama's offense looks early on. And I know you're saying, Arch, I also think like how you're saying that both rush offenses aren't good, necessarily statistically good. I think it's more important for Bama to be able to run the ball than it is Oklahoma. Just because if that Bama offense has to turn one-dimensional, I think that it could be over just because of how elite and game-breaking Oklahoma's defense is. That being said, I think that Grubb and DeBoer are going to put together a really good game plan, a really good opening script, and Bama gets it done in a really good game.
Yeah, so I'm picking Bama, but if I was an Oklahoma fan, what I would tell an Oklahoma fan, like why I think they should be super confident is, although DeBoer does have a lot of playoff experience, he actually doesn't have more playoff experience than Brent Venables. And I know it hasn't been as a head coach, but Brent Venables is a big game. He's a big game hunter. And I've seen Clemson's defense time and time again come to play under him. So I think I don't think Oklahoma's going to be like shell shocked or unprepared. I think this is going to be a dogfight game where it's like Ty Simpson making a few huge throws. And again, another Oklahoma thing that I just lean Oklahoma is I think the most explosive playmaker in the game plays for Oklahoma with Isaiah Satania. And Isaiah Satania has had numerous cat buster, huge explosive plays to break games open or to seal games or to get him back into games. And I could see that happening yet again. So we'll see kind of what happens with that. But if I was an Oklahoma fan, I would be very confident in the fact that Brent Venables is our coach and Isaiah Satania is the best playmaker in this football game.
He's also gotten DeBoer twice already. And that's not insignificant.
Nope.
And also, I just want to mention I had a take a couple weeks ago about Oklahoma upsetting one of the top 4 seeds in the playoff, and now I'm flying in the face of that by leaning Alabama in this game. But I think I reserve the right to change my mind until we found out who Oklahoma was going to play, and I think this particular matchup against Alabama might be the worst possible draw they could have had out of all the teams ranked 5 to 12, maybe with the exception of Oregon. But this was one of the tougher games for Oklahoma going into this playoff. And out of all the teams they could have played against, I think Alabama might be the worst matchup for them.
Yeah. I think we did a good job kind of hitting a lot of angles of this game. Art, you got one more thing to say?
Yeah, I was going to say no matter who wins this game, I think I'm going to be picking them against Indiana anyway. I think because like you were talking with
Just
Bama's
means
draw,
more.
with Oklahoma's draw, this draw for Indiana is horrible in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about that when that happens, but we'll see. Okay, next game. Actually, editor, here's your endpoint. The Miami Hurricanes fly, I presume, to the Texas
College
to Texas.
Station.
What do you say? Oh yeah, College Station. Thanks, Sam. The Texas A&M Aggies for an 11 a.m. local kick game on Saturday. The Hurricanes, the Aggies, two historic programs, big brands, Mike Elko, Mario Cristobal, Carson Beck, Marcel Reed. The stage is set. We can hit this game from a bunch of different angles. The first angle, and I think the most my favorite angle, and it's going to be, I mean, this is a layup for me, but the quarterback matchup here. Carson Beck, he's got a 74% completion percentage versus Marcel Reed, who's got a 61% completion percentage. So Marcel Reed just wants to throw the ball down the field, push the ball down the field. And when Carson Beck's at his best, which I'm sure Arch will tell you watching a lot of Carson Beck football, when he takes completions all day, he's very effective, very efficient. And I kind of trust him to do that in this game. They both have the 25 touchdowns and 10 picks, but the completion percentage is the most jarring difference between their two styles of quarterback plays. And obviously, Marcel Reed is far more dynamic with his legs. But I think Carson Beck, I trust him more in this spot. I also like him better as a quarterback. And that is like my angle on the quarterback position. What do you guys think about this game? And if you want to hit that angle, if you want to hit a different angle, feel free.
I think this is a trenches delight in this game. It's two of the best offensive lines in the country. I think A&M has the most starts from their offensive line in the country. If not, they're ranked pretty high. And then Miami is very experienced as well. They have a guy that's probably going to be a first round pick. And then both teams have really, really good pass rushes as well. Really good edges that have been able to produce with sacks all year, which isn't as common in college football. But Cassius Howe is 11 and a half sacks, and that's really, really impactful and significant in a college football season where you only play 12 games. So I think, first of all, that's the most intriguing and exciting thing for me. For other people, there's a lot of other parallels you can draw here. I think these teams stack up pretty similarly with how I mentioned the O-lines are similar, the edges are similar. They both have really explosive receivers that can break the game. Mario Craver and Concepcion on A&M, and then Malachi Tony for Miami. And then you just mentioned the quarterback battle too. And there's a lot of similarities, a lot of experience on both squads. And I just think that makes for a really exciting matchup. And I we'll get into it more, but it's going to be great.
Yeah, the edge for Miami, Ruben Bain gets a lot of the media hype, but he only has 4 sacks. And again, he's really good. So I'm not taking a shot at his production. But Akeem Mesidor is their other edge, and he has 7 sacks. And again, Cassius, what's his last name? Howell. I mean,
So
Cassius Howell with 11.5 is insane, but 7 stacks is still no joke as well.
Yeah. As regards to the quarterback matchup, I think I trust Carson Beck more in this spot. Um, the last few weeks of Reed's season, you were kind of starting like his overall like solid work to that point was kind of cracking at times with some of the decision making flaws in the South Carolina game, especially, and then in the Texas one. So I think I'm going to trust Beck more in the spot, but like y'all were saying, I think this is a great trenches matchup. In my opinion, A&M has one of the best offensive lines in the country. Miami does as well. Like that was kind of the thing that was different about them this year going into it. We previewed all the way in their first game against Notre Dame, how different their trenches are going to look this year on offense and defense. So I think it's going to be. I think when you people think of these teams, like they don't really think of like the actual profile of them, like that they actually are. They think of kind of like the idea that they think. But I think it's going to be an awesome trenches matchup, and I'm going to give the edge. Like I said, quarterback to Miami. But then other than that, I find it hard to find the other edges that I think Miami is going to have in this game.
so
What about their actual edges?
That's true. I mean, Ruben Bain is a freak. Um, Howell though, but Ruben Bain's
Yeah, I
sack
know.
numbers. Yeah, Howell
How
is.
arguably better and has been more productive.
Yeah.
Dude, this is gonna be a call. This is gonna be a NFL scout's dream to watch, like Markel Bell just get game reps against Cassius
It's
Howell.
not even Bell. It's so Miami's right tackle, Francis
Malinaga,
Maui Noah. Yeah,
yeah,
he's he's the projected early round pick, probably a first rounder, and he's playing right tackle. Cassius Howell rushes from that side most often, so you're going to see them duke it out pretty
just two
often in this
first
game.
round,
Yeah,
just two
and
first
yeah,
round
two
picks.
first round NFL talents going at it in pass protection and pass rush. So that's, I mean, if you're into that type of stuff, this is going to be the game to watch.
yeah, kind of to bounce off what you and Arch were saying, Duska, how these teams are so similarly profiled and matched within the trenches with the explosivity at the receiver position. I think it's going to come down to the margins in this game. And I want to circle back to Miami's 2 losses this year. Because outside of that, they've looked almost unstoppable with wins against Notre Dame. Granted, it was ACC play, but they dominated every ACC game outside of those losses to SMU and to Louisville. And the common denominator in those 2 losses to SMU and Louisville was the Beck interception. Beck threw 4 against Louisville in a game they still almost found a way to win, and then 2 against SMU in a loss in overtime. Now let's look to A&M, who what avenue for them to win this game, especially when these teams are so similarly matched, and what's going to kind of probably turn into a bit of a slugfest with a potential of slow offenses, since both these teams have been off for 3 weeks because they didn't play in their conference title games. Um, it's going to be, in my opinion, a low scoring game. And what could move the needle one way or the other is who can win the turnover battle. And A&M has actually really struggled to take the ball away this year. They've only had 9 turnovers. And in their last 7 games, they only have 3 forced turnovers and takeaways. So they've also struggled on their own with some obviously horrible turnovers in that South Carolina game and in the Texas game. And then after that, so you see Miami probably have a little bit of an edge as long as Beck can take care of the ball because Miami also has only lost 1 fumble all year. But then I look a little bit further to something that we talked about after the South Carolina game, and what is a thing that no one's been talking about for A&M. One of their biggest flaws and biggest struggles is their special teams kicking game. And in a game that could easily be 21-17 or 17-13, where a couple field goals here and there are going to really turn the tide, I think Miami is going to have the edge in that special teams. And
A
they've
decided
been playing
edge.
really, they've been playing really well lately. So I actually am going to go against you, Arch. I think Miami um, finds a way to win this game with winning the turnover battle, taking care of the ball, and some big special teams plays down the stretch here.
As explosive as I think Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver are, I think the best secondary they might face all year is the Miami Hurricanes. And I really like their secondary. Jacoby Thomas, Zachariah Poyster, Keontae Scott, and Xavier Lucas are their top four DBs. And I believe Thomas and Poyster are second and third on the team in tackles. And then Thomas also has 4 interceptions. They, when you watch them, they're twitchy, they're physical. I just like how they play, talk a lot of shit. You're gonna see them all over the field on Saturday, and that's something I think you need because they're gonna be asked to not only tackle the other receivers in space, they're gonna be asked to tackle Marcel Reed in space, and I think defensive backs are my favorite position to watch. And out of the ones I've watched this year, Miami's are the most impressive to me. They basically just said, Pitt, like, you're just not good enough. Like, you won't get open today. And like they didn't. And Pitt's receiving core hadn't been like a bad receiving core. Like I thought they were pretty good for an ACC receiving core. And Miami said, yeah, that's not going to happen today. So again, now the Pitt receivers to the Texas A&M receivers, a lot different. But it's not like they haven't went up against great receiving cores this year. They played Notre Dame, beat them. Played Florida, beat them. So yeah. So that's kind of my take on that. And I also think for all the great weapons that Texas A&M has, Malachi Tony might be the best one on the field. And, that's always huge. He's 84 catches, which is unbelievable. Like, they get him the ball whatever way possible. And I also like Mark Fletcher. He kind of gets downhill. I'm going with Miami. You guys haven't heard my voice, but yeah, I'm riding with kind of just a veteran staff, and this would be such a huge get for Mario Cristobal. Like, dude, he's dying for just a signature win, especially with them not going to the AC Championship this year. This would be a pivotal turning point in the Hurricanes becoming a real program.
I just had two more quick things. One, subtle irony that these are the two teams that beat Notre Dame after all of the dramatics out of the Notre Dame athletic department. They're now facing off against each other in the first round of the playoff. Pretty funny. And then the other thing is this game's in College Station, and that place definitely gets rowdy. You can see it through the television screen how electric it is there. But the fact that this is a 12 p.m. kickoff Eastern time, which means I'm not as
11
accustomed
a.m.
to Central Standard Time as Sam is, but I think that means it's an 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. kickoff in College Station. So I think that kind of subdues a little bit of the advantage that you get playing at home in the fact that when it's nighttime in College Station, you can see that place is literally vibrating and it's just an electric atmosphere. I think that's a little bit subdued when it's an earlier kickoff. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but I think it's something to keep in mind.
I believe that in part of the deal that they made with the playoff with TNT broadcasting two of the games, I think that part of that deal was that because last year TNT had the noon and then is it 3 or 4? Whatever. The 3:30 kick last year, I think that TNT has this like that, and then ABC had the primetime Ohio State Tennessee game. I think that this year TNT had the rights to the primetime slot. Also, when you're looking at just like pure television windows, there's NFL games. I think there's two of them in the afternoon at 3 and 7
Eagles
or whatever.
Commanders.
So, like, for pure money
Not watching.
purposes, they will dominate that Friday night window. That's the only thing people are gonna be watching. And then at noon on Saturday, even though we love that nighttime primetime kickoff, that noon slot is so valuable to the common sports watcher, especially on a Saturday night. So that would be the reason why. Yeah, it's unfortunate that we don't get two primetime night games, but
Funny that ESPN owns the main rights to the college football playoff too, and they just get to decide when the games are they got both of the good first round games, and it's just interesting how all the dynamics involved in that, and TNT just getting the two far and away worse games than the other two.
Nothing was worse than like Miami not making the AC championship than TNT, because now we're like, wow, now we get two G5 games. It's like, how about it? So
But
I
I'm gonna
always
pick
liked-
Miami. I'm gonna
I
pick
always
Miami
liked
as well. I never
Pate's-
mentioned that.
ooh,
I always like Pate's idea of ESPN allowing other networks to bid on playoff games.
or
That would actually be a cool thing if the NCAA were to take ownership of the playoff somehow. I don't know how that would be possible. And then
Cat's pretty already off that out of that bag.
yeah, but that would be cool. And then say there was 4 games, then they could sell the rights to each game. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Like, dude, yeah, it sucks that like Clat and
I don't know. Gus Johnson is so.
you don't think Fox should get a game? Like, dude, I like.
No, I do. I'd rather hear Joe Tessitore than Gus Johnson ramble during Tulane Ole Miss.
Oh, did they get that game?
Yeah, Tessitore is doing Tulane, and then
Who's doing
it's
JMU?
Mark Jones and doing the Oregon game's the night game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Tessitore's at 3:30, and then the fourth ESPN crew, which is Mark Jones.
Arch,
It's
are you A&M?
Fowler,
Yeah, I'm gonna go A&M.
Herb Street Fowler's on what?
Bama, and then McDonough for Miami. Well, shout out McDonough. I think he's been really good the past 2 years.
This is saying
He got a lot of slack in 2023, but I think he's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy watching those broadcasts. Can't deny. I think Gus Johnson's getting a little bit too much hate right now.
I
I
agree.
don't. I think he's getting not enough hate.
Why?
Let's just go to the biggest play that he called all season that he like horrible. The Indiana Penn State game.
Yeah.
He's built up enough cachet that he should be able to have one bad call and not get dragged over the coals for it. He deserves a little more credit than that.
I just feel like
And he also is so electric.
Yeah, he's electric, but like when you're calling these huge games, like you need to have that like calm demeanor. Like I think Fowler does a good job of this. And like some of the classic like Vern or even I think Gary Danielson does a good job. Like just the calm and then elevate as the game goes. He's like freaking out on like a first down. Like I don't know.
Trayvon Jones. That's a great call.
But yeah, it's cool in week 4, but when it's like
Maserati man.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. To each their own.
I don't think there's no play-by-play guys in college football that are bad enough that I'll notice it while I'm watching.
Mhm.
Yes, there's slip-ups here and there, but I think all of them are competent enough that
Like I think the
wow.
NFL is like bad sometimes. Like I think the NFL's stuff is like just so they're not in the game whatsoever. Like
Really? I like a lot of the NFL guys.
Al Michaels. is
Okay,
just-
yeah, he's done.
He's out of his.
Dude,
even-
he's just old.
Dude, even Tirico. I like Tirico on the Olympics. I'm not a huge Tirico guy on NFL games.
Tarico's also.
I like Collinsworth a lot. I think he gets too much
Oh
hate.
no, Collinsworth is great, and Aikman. I really like Aikman. Aikman just
See,
keeps it real in the studio.
Yeah.
Al Michaels needs to hang it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, the Falcons game winning kick on Thursday, if you closed your eyes, you probably would have thought it was 0-0, like first drive of the game. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
actually.
good.
That's what
It
I'm
is
saying. Like,
good.
I'll take Gus Johnson having an aneurysm up there over some guy who's just like, and it's up, then it's good.
I do
Yeah,
like
his
the
contract
Panthers
is up with
broadcaster.
Prime, so I'm intrigued by who they'll go after.
Dude, if you're Herbie, he works so much, Kirk Herbstreit. Like, dude, the amount of prep to do the Thursday night game, the college game day, and then the primetime ESPN game. Like, dude, that is just
He almost does so much stuff that it probably impacts his performance.
yes. I just
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure
Like, does he
he's-
really need to do Thursday Night Football?
I think
No.
he's
They're
doing
paying him like $10 million.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
I get it on his end, but
I
He
think
has to in order to pay for the McAfee kit guys and game day on Saturday mornings.
yeah, right. The donations.
Yeah.
If Herb Street throws this ball through the uprights, you get $300,000.
Straight from his bank account.
yeah, it's like Herbie's like, Pat. I don't know if we talked about that, but we're live. So no, I mean, I think the Prime thing is something that Amazon is new to broadcasting games, same as like Netflix. So they want to hire names that are like pretty like stable in the industry, and they'll pay a lot of money for it. But I don't think like the Kirk Amazon thing is going to be like a long lasting deal. I think he's helping them get it off the ground because, dude, that's just that has to be unattainable to do as
Well,
much work as he does.
also, if you think about like your Herb Street and like Al Michaels is one of the most, if not the most, like iconic announcer in just the history of sports,
Yeah.
arguably.
Mhm.
And also, if you think about it like through the lens of Kirk, who has devoted his entire career into his profession of announcing, like this is such an awesome opportunity. Even though Al
Yeah.
Michaels is washed, like getting to call games with like the GOAT of announcing, like that's
Yeah.
pretty cool on its own.
No doubt.
For like to look at it through his lens of doing that. And he's like Kirk is trying to establish himself as one of the greats too. So like I think it's kind of cool that
Yeah.
they're together, like the old time versus like this new guy. I think
I
that's
mean,
cool.
Kirk's so good. Kirk is
Oh
money.
my gosh.
He's money. Like, dude, him and Fowler are just money.
You
And
know who I
Fa-
can't listen to,
Who?
Duska, is Noah Eagle.
Really? I don't mind
I
him.
can't stand him.
He's not my favorite, but
Wait, dude, you know who I really like watching? And like, he's this NFL guy. But I think Brady's really good.
He's awesome.
Dude, Brady's so good.
Sam,
Brady
do you
So is
like
Greg
Yeah,
Olson's really good too.
and Romo. All the color guys in the NFL are fabulous.
I like
Romo gets a
Joe
lot of
Davis
hate.
and I like Joe Davis too.
This guy, Sam, I have a question. This guy's like a little more slept on, and he's more of like a basketball guy, but I love him on NFL games. Did you ever hear like Kevin Harlan games on CBS?
Yeah, I don't love Kevin Harlan.
You don't like Kevin Harlan? Dude,
I like
kinda
him in hoops. I don't love him in football.
Really?
Yeah.
I like his style. Something about it.
You know who's great is JJ Watt's really good.
Yes, he is. People are
Also,
saying he's better than Romo. We should replace him.
No, Romo's great.
dude, Jesse Palmer is unreal for like an ESPN. Like, he'll do like the
Hey.
Friday ESPN games. I love Jesse Palmer on like Clemson.
He gets a
Louisville.
lot of hate.
Well, I like
He
him.
gets a lot of hate because he hosts The Bachelor as well.
Yeah.
And so like you can kind of tell sometimes in his games with Tess, like when The Bachelor's going on, because he's a little bit unprepared. He gets a lot of slack for that sometimes.
Have you host
Like,
The
if you-
Bachelor and then
I think he knows
all
ball,
football
though.
games
I
as
don't
well?
know.
I like
That's insane.
McElroy. I think McElroy's
Oh,
good.
I mean, McElroy's great. If
My
Kubler was a
favorite-
little more personable, he'd be a little better too.
My
He's
favorite
good at his
announcer is
sideline
the
job.
Hornets slash CBS guy. He called like the Panthers Dolphins game. Like he just screams. He's awesome.
Yeah, that guy's a spaz.
There's like a clip of LaMelo Ball making like a 3-pointer, and he starts like screaming. It's great. You gotta if you know what I'm talking about. You'll
I know
Yeah,
exactly
what
what
you're
you're
talking
talking about. That
That's
guy's awesome.
good. That guy's good. I mean, Mike Breen.
That's the same. I'm pretty sure that's the same. Valentine, that is not the shot.
Valentine. No.
If you want to talk basketball, the worst is Doris Burke.
Oh my God. Dude, there's no worse than turning on an NBA Finals game. Dude, Richard Jefferson, Doris Burke, and who's the other guy?
It's Mike Breen,
Van
but
Gundy.
Yeah, but Breen just gets
Oh.
murdered by those two. Like,
no,
those two-
it used to be Van Gundy
No,
and
Breen's
Mark
pretty
Jackson,
washed.
and it was good.
yeah, so
But
good.
now it's Doris and
There's the meme.
Richard Jefferson.
Literally,
Doris
the-
Burke didn't say there's the meme, but she
no,
might as well.
I know, but
Yeah, Doris
dude, she
Burke
says the
blows.
worst in the NBA Finals. Like, dude, she's awful.
That one
Doris,
of
hopefully
her
you're not
from, like,
listening to this, or no one pulls this up in the future.
Yeah, hopefully I don't have to shake your hand.
We're
I mean, dude,
slandering Doris Burke.
I respect you for like what you do for the profession, and like you're like the only girl that does it, but like you're just not good. So
that clip of her with Rudy Gobert and Wembanyama talking about a German-French agreement or something like that was one of the worst I've ever seen. I think it was in the finals. I don't know what it was, but it was bad. So, and she got like demoted right after that. I think it was in the finals. I don't know what it was about, but she sucks. Bottom line.
Yeah. I don't like Richard Jefferson that much either.
Let's get back to football.
I don't think he's that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
I
so
gotta go
off
in like
track.
I gotta go in like 15. 'Cause I
Okay,
gotta
well,
check
We're so
before.
off track.
Yeah, that we'll clip that and just call that like NFL. I mean, we'll just commentator segment. Okay, dude. I mean, we just got two games to talk about that. Like because it's like we cover the sport, we have to talk about these games. But Tulane going to Ole Miss for the rematch, and then JMU flying to Eugene, Oregon to play the Oregon Ducks. Dude, for the JMU game, it's awesome that like James Madison is for their school. Like their applicant pool is going to go up like 2x this fall, but it's sad that they're just like a 21.5 point favorite going into this game, and it's not going to be good. There's no path. Like there's literally not a path. Like Alonzo Barnett and Deuce Knight or whatever his name is, the starting running back. And then like, dude, I played against Duska. We played against their leading receiver, De Janeiro from Richmond. Like De Janeiro is not about to just route up like whoever on an Oregon, literally name any DB. Like it's not happening. So yeah, like have at it, JMU. And then like for the Tulane game, dude, it's not even like Tulane's that good of a G5 team. Like they kind of win by like being scrappy, relying on Retzloff's legs. Like they're a super collegey team that has a really good head coach, and they play in a conference where they do have a talent advantage, and then like they like manufacture wins like playing good defense and running the football. And like, dude, you have none of those advantages for any of these like games. Like
Yeah.
if you were like Tulane or Navy, like which one gives a more competitive game? You could make the argument that Navy's option it provides some version of like weirdness for a team to prepare for. When like the
I think
talent, I don't know.
I just think and obviously like there's not really much to say for either. I think the only thing you could say that Tulane has going for them is the fact that like they played them before and they know what it's going to be like a little bit. But
Holy shit.
Then you just factor in
One.
the Ole Miss chip on their shoulder factor. And
Sorry, I looked at Bryce Bocher, like the baseball player / middle linebacker for the Ducks. Guess how many tackles he has?
Over 100.
Dude, 104. You don't really see that in like elite defenses. Like it's a lot of times it's like Bama's like 77 or Ole Miss's guys actually like 77. Like what's his name? His name's TJ Daugherty. Like that's where you usually see the leading tacklers at in like Power Five. You don't see a whole lot of 100 tacklers nowadays. But like
Yeah,
I
I
mean
think
they got to block him. So
for these two games, would like to point viewers' eyes in the direction of the bucked up LA Bowl that just happened. And Washington, who finished 7th in the Big Ten, they played against the Mountain West champion Boise State. And both teams had their starting QBs. I think both teams' rosters were pretty similar to what they were in the regular season. And Washington absolutely dismantled a group of 5 conference champion. And I know you can't make the super easy comparison between Boise and JMU and Tulane, but in a way
no,
you
you can.
can.
No,
Yeah,
you
you
definitely
can
can.
because they're both G5 champs, and the level of competition that they're playing compared to that of Washington, who would certainly be a favorite over both teams as well. Definitely not as much of a disparity in the point spread as we're seeing in the 2 games coming up, but I think that is a perfect example of the difference in overall talent composite and then overall just quality of team and level of physicality and level of skill players and quarterback. And I think that game was a perfect microcosm of what these G5 playoff matchups are like. And it's a shame that the disparity is that significant, but we've talked about it all year. These conferences, when a program in these conferences has a good player, they immediately get poached by a Power Four conference. And we talked about the Sun Belt. The quality of the Sun Belt has diminished significantly the past few years because they've been hit the hardest because they have a lot of guys that should be SEC players coming out of high school, but they're a little under recruited or something of that, something similar to that. And they end up at one of these programs and then they play their way into an SEC program. And you see that littered throughout G5. And we don't have to relitigate all of this stuff and their viability for making the playoffs and everything. But I think there's no need to really put too much thought into any of these games because that disparity exists and upsets like this don't really happen ever. And when they do, it's so ground shaking and earth rattling that it's that rare. So I think that kind of sums up the situation we're in here.
Yeah, and like the unit I feel the worst for, especially for James Madison, is like I didn't think they blocked particularly well against Troy. Troy had an edge that was pretty good, and he did a really good job that game. But I mean, the JMU offensive line is going to have to block Mateo Uiagalelei, Bear Alexander, and Tietam Tuioti. Yeah, Tietam Tuioti. Tuioti has 7 sacks. Uiagalelei has 5 sacks. And Bear Alexander is a freak of nature in the middle of the defense. So, like, I just do not see how they block any of those players because I actually think JMU, number 15, he was a pretty good edge rusher. And I thought they might pressure Dante Moore a few times. Like they might force a couple punts from Oregon, but like, dude, it actually might be JMU getting the ball might be bad news for JMU because they have to retain the ball for 3 straight plays and then get a successful punt off. Like it's that bad. Like I don't know how they're going to block Oregon's defensive line.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe what's the Tulane? Is there a Tulane path here? Trinidad and Chambliss forgets how to play football. Kawan Lacey.
If Ole Miss is a disaster without Lane Kiffin, which
yes,
the odds of that are low, but it's not a 0% chance.
What's his name? So, Charlie Weiss's kid. Is it just Charlie Weiss Jr.? Might be
the offensive staffer.
Yeah, the offensive coordinator. That's going to go to LSU, but he gets to call the offense. I mean, dude. You got him. He's running the meetings right now. Like I'm sure he's doing his job and
they also have a chip on the shoulder. That matters.
Now, maybe this. Maybe it's like the Summerall, the last dance, and Summerall just has these guys, Warriors mentality, burn the boats. Like maybe we just get Retzloff making plays. Like I could be that, but Tulane forced turnovers against North Texas, which is why they did what they did to North Texas, right? I just don't know if Trinidad Chambliss all of a sudden just starts turning the ball over when in SEC play for the past 13 weeks, he's made really good decisions.
I mean, we're talking about a team that lost by 20 to UTSA. So it's really hard to imagine a scenario where they'd find a way to beat Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's a
great season, though, Tulane. John Summerall, class act, but.
And, the fact that he gave $100,000 to, the NIL collective, pretty cool as he's leaving out the door.
Class act.
Class act, no doubt.
But it's not looking good for the Green Wave.
But, yeah. At least I like the uniforms of both Tulane and James Madison. So they could show some pride out there by just looking good and showing up for the alumni. I'm sure Tulane alumni are going to be juiced for this game. This is it. The G5 might just get kicked out of the playoff completely the next time we do this thing. So enjoy would be what I tell.
Never forget when UCF won the national championship.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one last thing. We were talking about at the beginning of the show, the Porter quarterbacks. Brendan Sorsby, Cincinnati's guy, entered the portal yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So did TJ Finley.
Yeah.
Dude, how?
Dude.
How? No. Dude, he's had to 6 schools in 6 years.
7.
7 in 6 years. How does he have a 7th?
How does he still have eligibility?
He's filing for a 7th year.
How? Under what grounds?
Not fair.
Make believe. Yeah.
I just looked up TJ Finley. The top story is On3 article. breaking. TJ Finley makes unfathomable decision on football career.
Dude, he's got to stop. He has to stop. Who is his who are his
And he's
parents or
probably making
support
money
system?
though, right?
Dude,
Or no?
I cannot imagine Georgia State was backing the Brinks truck up for him to
Yeah.
That's true. That's
like
true.
It's not like
quarterback.
he's at like Auburn anymore.
He's probably going to be FCS quarterback next year.
ETSU after McNamara and Caldwell leave. Yeah, I don't know. I see a thing that says
Elon needs a guy.
Yeah, it says actually I'm not gonna say it on air.
Got you. We'll wait till we're off air.
Yeah.
So Sorsby's on, so he won't play for against Navy. I mean,
No,
You guys have
someone
any-
saying that he's rumored to Texas Tech. Dude, I think Sorsby sucks. Why would it I don't
I don't
he
think he
benefited
sucked.
from a really good ground game this year.
yeah, like it was
Cincinnati ran the piss out of the front.
Yeah.
They have really good backs and really good
Yeah.
line play.
Yeah.
And I thought the receivers were. I thought Cincinnati was like pretty good.
I saw that he was waiting for an NFL grade to decide whether he was going to transfer or not. I don't know if you saw that same thing.
Dude,
Rich,
when
but-
you watch Sorsby, this is nerdy, but
I
when
did.
you watch
his NFL grade's got to be fucking horrible.
No, because when you watch Sorsby, dude, he's a freak athlete, like really good athlete. Every throw he makes, he leans off his back foot. He steps into zero throws, and he does have like a pretty zippy arm, but like the mechanics, it's like late and off his back foot. And I can't see any NFL team being like, yeah, we'll draft you in the third round. Like, no.
The next Desmond
that.
Ritter.
It's
Also,
like
I
that-
think Will Hammond, he should not go to Texas Tech because Will Hammond will beat him out next year. Mark my words.
It's like that meme where it's the whole like the agent farts in the phone. Like, dude, I cannot imagine him like just be like, "What's your grade on Soares?" Being a GM, like, no,
He's not on
F
the board.
minus.
Yeah.
go back to school. Go back to
Yeah.
school.
College.
What do you guys have any thoughts on Mendoza winning the Heisman or any controversial thoughts?
I would have voted for Pavia.
Same.
I would have, but I'm really glad he didn't win. So
I would have voted for Mendoza, and I'm also glad Pavia did not win after seeing his reaction to losing.
Yeah. I do
Yeah,
think
it was-
child.
What's
Yeah.
the Pavia case, though? I need to hear it.
the Pavia case is like he had 800 rushing yards and he threw for more yards than Mendoza. He also was a more valuable player to his team. He led his team in rushing 7 of the 11 games than Mendoza might have been. And it's a little bit unfair that they were evenly matched in the rank in the odds market going into championship weekend. And then after Mendoza put up 220 yards, a pick and a touchdown, and his offense put up a whopping 13 points, the odds went to like minus 1,000 Mendoza. So like, dude, if we're putting that much weight on the conference championship game, when Mendoza just like DYJ'd, like he did his job, like no doubt, but that wasn't like the most sweeping Heisman performance. Like, oh, dude, have to give the Heisman to Mendoza. So I just think like it's a little bit unfair. Like if that's how the voters are gonna do it, like literally just have put all the weight at the end of the year, then like we should just I say scrap the championship game and just vote before the championship games because that's kind of BS that. Like that last data point is like so skewed in favor of the quarterback that's still playing.
Well, with the current criteria and with them leaving the conference championship game in there, it's significant then that a quarterback that's playing in it beats the other best team in the country and wins the conference championship. I think that if that's going to be part of the
Well, then
criteria, then Mendoza should get the benefit from being able to pull that off.
Yeah.
It's not his fault that Pavia also didn't play in the conference championship.
Okay, but dude, if they were neck and neck, was the Mendoza performance that much insane that you're like, oh wow, no, he's got to be the runaway favorite? When like, dude, the Heisman should be given to the Indiana defense. Then like Isaiah Jones should have a case for it because
I mean he made some really big throws and they beat the best team in the country and won the Big Ten. So I think that matters. Pavia had no moments like that.
Dude, honest, I mean, Pavia had
And a lot of it is narrative. A lot of it's narrative based.
In the regular season, he had some moments, dude.
Yeah, no doubt.
The Tennessee
like
game was like a sick.
Nothing
moment.
like the Charlie Becker throw or the Penn State throws.
Okay, My mom said this actually, and very good point by her. She was like, I'm just like the casual college football fan, and like because Indiana is a higher branded team because they got to play Oregon, Penn State, and Ohio State. Like I saw Mendoza play 3 times, and like he did some cool stuff in those games. When like you got to go find like Vandy, Missouri, or like, you got to go find Tech like Tennessee,
Dude,
Vandy.
also, like the Pavia wasn't like earth shattering against Missouri.
No,
Like there
no.
was
I have no problem with Mendoza winning the Heisman. I'm really happy for the kid. And he's like what college football players should be. Like his teammates obviously really like him. He's a humble kid. He's a godly kid. Like I loved like dude, kids looking up to Mendoza as opposed to looking up to Pavia is going to set up the next football generation awesome because like you don't want to act like Pavia. Like honestly, like that's not really somebody you should emulate behavior wise. Although like he does have the moxie in the game. Like, but I think Mendoza is a great leader. Um, so I'm with you on like I think Mendoza should have won. I mean, not should have won. I think it's fair that he won. I probably would have voted for Pavia, but I would have voted for Genti last year too. And it's okay that Travis Hunter won. I think there's a good fair case for that. I just would have voted for Genti.
Yeah, I
I just
agree.
do you think Duska? It's just I think it's a little bit unfair that data point is so skewed. Like they're even, and then that game happens, and like he blows past them.
I think with the implications of that game, who it was against, and some of the throws he made, I think it's fair that it carried that much weight. Because I mean, fair, unfair, Pavia didn't have that, so that's gonna work against him no matter what. And it was an extra game of stats and data and narrative based thinking going in the direction of Pavia or going in the direction of Mendoza. So
Yeah,
it's I think it's fair and
they're also the number 1 overall seed, which that plays a point. Like you got to be your team's got to be good. Like if Vandy was a playoff team, I think this might be a different conversation.
yeah. But having a throw against a team like Ohio State in a game with that much significance, that I think that should carry a lot of weight. That's just my Mendoza case.
And you know, Duska, we were talking about like Heisman moments, like early, like I don't know, a couple weeks, like a week ago, and I was saying like what like Sayan was the favorite, and I was like, where is the Sayan moment? I was like, dude, I'm okay with Mendoza winning because I can pick 3 throws where I was like, that could be a Heisman moment. Like, yeah, the Omar Cooper Penn State drive throw, the Charlie Becker
Still the most
throw,
insane catch of the year by
yeah,
far.
and then the Elijah Surratt box fade against Ohio State. Like, those are gonna be. We'll always remember those Mendoza plays as like fans, which I guess that's pretty cool.
He's also the man. So
Yeah, great dude.
yeah.
It's a shame that Archer's not believing in the Indiana wagon.
I've believed in it enough this year.
Um,
I still
uh,
have my doubts.
really,
Not as much, but I just can't help myself.
dude. Last pod, you were like, dude, I finally have jumped
No,
on
I
this.
know. It's definitely less significant doubt. Like I thought Ohio State was going to win comfortably, but for some reason it's like in the back of my head like, oh, it's Indiana. Like they're not. But I every all the evidence is pointing against that way of thinking.
I mean, I think they're a real team. I just think like they could be beat. Like, there's a game script where like
Yeah.
they get beat,
100%.
but I don't think they're like a fair. I don't see them
They're
getting
never
like
going to
boat
get dog
raced.
walked
Yeah,
like
out of the.
they
They're
were
gonna be like,
last
oh,
year.
Indiana
Yeah.
doesn't belong. Here it is. I think
Yeah.
it'll be like, oh shit, like they lost by a field goal to
That's true. That's
Oklahoma
true.
or
I think my
Alabama.
thinking has shifted from like a good team can win comfortably against them to
No,
it's going to take a lot to beat them. But
you got to
I
beat
mean, every
Indiana.
team is beatable this year.
They also, dude, they beat Oregon at Oregon by 10, and then they beat Ohio State at a neutral field. Like, no team has wins like that.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
true.
Okay. Well, fellas, this has been a blast, and I can't wait to watch some ball. Hopefully, me and Sam can watch some ball together, maybe take some notes as we do.
Some ball
Um,
on right now.
yeah, there is some ball on right now. So I
What's the name of
see.
this bowl that's on right now?
68 Ventures Bowl, I believe.
Salute to
Ooh,
Veterans Bowl.
Oh, is it that what it is?
Yeah, a salute to Veterans Bowl.
If you want to watch some good football, high school, Buford plays in their state championship in like probably 30 minutes. National championship.
Where
So
is it? Is it on national TV?
I saw that
uh,
St. Francis won the national championship already.
I watched
this,
that
this
game.
one's the legit one.
Okay.
What is it? What team is it? Buford and who?
Carrollton, where Jalen
Ooh,
Thomas and Bonner
and
went.
JB, the kid.
Yeah.
Um.
Also, the FCS football semifinals are on this weekend.
Oh,
If you
also
want to peek that as well.
Harding Ferris State D2 National
D2 Natty.
Championship.
Let's go.
Cole Keelan. Shout out Cole Keelan. Me and Sam's boy from 6th grade, who's starting quarterback at Harding. All-time winningest quarterback at Harding.
If he wins, this game will be the most in NCAA history.
Yeah, exactly. He's unbelievable. Wishbone offense. He's completed less than 40 passes this year. Guy just reads defensive ends and defensive tackles like his job depends on it. Tough kid too.
Pod is locked in on all levels of college football taking place and high school.
Yep. Wait, Arch, is that game nationally televised?
If you go to GPB or Peachtree TV, it will be.
But who are they
It's a
playing?
website, Carrollton.
Oh, so
Carrollton.
is it free or do I have to pay?
No, it's free.
All right.
Georgia Public Broadcasting, baby. My tax dollars go to that.
The Wolves.
Yeah, go Wolves.
Yeah, it's a shame that if to watch a Pennsylvania State game,
gotta
the
pay.
Pennsylvania puts a $12 paywall on it, like an absolute fraud organization they are. So I'm glad Georgia Public Sports they figured that out.
Means more.
Yeah, it does mean more. I shouldn't have to pay $7 to watch my sister's state field hockey game. Like it's really not that deep. Like, please.
Yeah, we do it right here.
You do. All right. Well, fellas, thank you so much for tuning in the pod. Audience, always a pleasure. We love college football. Enjoy this weekend.